the project that Tom and I are building is a tool, a math tool. This is based on my experience in back in school when I was trying to write math equations on a computer, and it was really, really hard. So actually an idea popped in my head when my instructors were talking about building something on demo day. So I was like, oh, why don't I build this? And it was an idea from 2 years ago. And to see it come to life and being able to produce something for me and people who want to teach maths is just a really amazing experience.
So for me, actually, I have zero experience before I attended the bootcamp. So it's really important to go through the modules that the school asks you to do it before you come to the course itself. It's going to help you accelerate your learning when you actually come for the bootcamp.
So for me, the experience at Wagon has been, it's really great. At the same time, it's stressful, but a good kind of stressful in the sense that I feel accomplished being able to write and build my own products, write code and build my own products. And that's something that I've struggled while being alone by myself. And having guided tutors just makes it a lot easier for that.
Well, for me, the first reason is because it's got good ratings. That's something that I've searched online. Of course, there are other schools out there, but I feel that Blue Wagon seems to have one of the best instructors, one of the best curriculum. And the other important thing for me that is the timeline. It takes 9 weeks, which perfectly fits my schedule. All right, so evening everyone. We save the best for the last because we will teach you how to solve the equation of the theory of relativity. No, just joking. So before we start, so my name is Tom, and this is my partner in crime, Keith. So we are a two-man team. And actually, he was the one who had the idea of developing a math tool that you can teach online. And I'm sure you can agree with me that with the current situation with COVID-19, teaching online has become the new normal. Yes, it's true that you can teach math behind a whiteboard or chalkboard online, or you can annotate on a Zoom call. But I'm sure that it's not a very engaging experience. It's not immersive enough. So the idea of Traversal here is that we want to help tutors and teachers to type clean equations, clean and readable equations. And as you do that, you can actually explain so that you can provide a more smooth experience. So imagine that I'm a student and I have a burning question for my teacher, Mr. Shepherd, and I want to text him a question through WhatsApp.
Okay, thanks. Hi, I'm Keith, rather Mr. Shepherd. Tom's gonna help me over here. Okay, so Tom he's a student. He just texted me on something on WhatsApp, which is actually pretty common during the pandemic days as a tutor. Yeah, so he's asking me how do I manipulate this question of manipulate the area of a circle given its radius. So ordinarily, if I was teaching someone face to face, I'd just be over there beside them with a piece of paper, and we're just writing, and I can explain it to them. But over here, let's say my tutee and I miles away, right? I can't go there on the spot, and the government is looking for me if I go out without a mask. So I'm going to just solve his equation on the spot. So I'll say, hey, Tom, like, how's it going? And I say, okay, so for the area of a circle, for a quick refresher, it's pi r squared. So the very first problem comes right now. I want to write pi. How do I write pi? I don't really know, because ordinarily on a piece of paper, I just write these squiggly lines. Over here, I have to do that. It doesn't look as how I envision it in my head. And then I want to multiply that by radius squared. So what does that look like? I'm not so sure. And then how do I do a squared? A squared is a 2, right? But on paper, I shift that above, but I can't really do that in plain text. Of course, with a bit of researching, I can find out that it uses this weird-looking symbol, which is an up sign. I'm not really sure how that looks like as compared to paper, because it's obviously so much easier to write on that or on a whiteboard. So I'll just write it down. I want to manipulate that. So it's easy for me to visualize. I'm just doing this. I'm just saying r squared equals to a divided by pi. And then the next thing is I am going to take a square root of it, if we can recall that square roots are usually the inverse of square. So r equals to, that's the next problem I have right now, is how do I write a square root? A square root, do I just type it in? Most of the time, if I can't find a symbol, I'm going to Google it, square root symbol. And I'm just going to try and find something. OK, I see something over here. I'm going to go and grab this, go back, and OK, so I'll do that. And then I'll put a divided by pi. And then I'll say, OK, this is how it's done. So you can see there's a lot of friction to just, for this very simple formula of how to, manipulating the area of a circle, there's so much friction that has to be dealt with if I am just doing this through text. And this is really annoying, not just for me, but for my student Tom as well, who has to look at this and try and figure out what's going on. There's so many characters, and I don't really know what this is. So we tried to solve this problem, and how that problem is solved is through Traversal. So let's recreate the same thing over here, but let's use this instead. So Traversal is just going to load. And you'll see in a second why you can really see the comparison for this as opposed to how it's going to load in Traversal itself. Should probably pay for Heroku. Now, maybe can I right-click on this? Let's see if we can open. OK, great. So this is a list of things that I've done with Tom previously. I just give it a name of addition and multiplication. But now it's asking me about a circle. So I'm just going to type in a new equation. And yeah, let's say area of circle, right? And then I'm just going to write the same thing that I did in WhatsApp, but now over here. So I was writing previously a equals to pi. And I'm not just going to write pi now. If I do something interesting, like just with this slash, it immediately becomes the symbol that I'm looking for. Wow, that's actually pretty cool. And now I'm looking for a square root. I'm not so sure how to do that, but I can have like a handy cheat sheet over here, and I'm looking for, this looks like what I'm trying to do. So I look, OK, it's one character followed by that arrow, and then the next character. So let me just do that. And then I do 2. This already looks so much better than what I was doing previously in WhatsApp. And so over here, I can continue manipulating. That's, let me just redo that. Yeah, OK. So I want to manipulate this so that the r squared is on the left side. So it's even cooler over here is I can actually live, if this was a Zoom call, I'm actually talking to Tom right now, and I'm saying, hey, this is what I'm doing right now. I want to paste is equals to a divided by pi. And I can tell him immediately, this is what I'm doing. Hey, Tom, I just shifted the r squared to the left side, right? And then that goes in here. And then I say, OK, I want to do the square root. I'm not so sure. What I can do is take a look over here. Square root, is there a square root? This looks like a square root. All right, so let's just do that. So sqrt is apparently the shortcut for that. Let me just copy this, and let me do an r over here. Oh, whoops. It actually goes over here. So sqrt. Right. OK, so let's just bring in this guys over here. OK. And then, so I can add this, and after that, I can annotate to Tom as well. Let me just give a quick annotation. So, right, let me just add my comment. Remember to check for mistakes, and don't be careless. Yeah, and now when Tom hovers over, when he receives this message, he knows that he can check this just to be careful. Because this is a very common mistake that happens when we're dealing with math equations. So it doesn't really end here, because I am still talking to Tom. He's waiting for me over here. What I can do is I can just, let me just move this to the side. Right, so I've got a nice share button over here. And since we were already talking, let me get back to Tom. So let's find Tom. Tom is here. And then let me send him this message. Let me just enter that and say, hey, Tom, I annotated. I have oops, a better visual here. And now Tom can receive it on his phone, exactly where he was. So if we just take a look, it's in a different one. Yeah, well, it's on Tom's phone right now. And if he opens it, he can take a look at exactly the same messages that I have written. And as a bonus, for the super nerdy people out there, we actually have a link. If you're an engineer or a data scientist, or you like to do analytics for some reason, we actually have a share button over here for Jupyter Notebook, if you have heard of it. So all that code, you can actually just copy that and bring it into Jupyter.
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Shepherd, for your answers. As you can see, it's a very frustrating experience just to get a simple equation like finding out the radius of a circle through WhatsApp. So we believe that with Traversal, you'll be able to type better and cleaner equations for your students. We hope that, well, not even just students, tutors, or teachers, but even parents can use it to teach their kids. So with this, I'd like to end the presentation. And just want to say a big thanks to Keith, as well as, yeah, and because we are a two-man team, it wasn't that easy, for the past 2 weeks. Just also want to thank the instructors for helping us out a lot. Is there anything you want to add?
Oh, thanks, Tom.
Okay.
Not for
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and of course a very big thank you to the professors Prima, Miguel, and Grace. Is it on? I'm not sure if it's on. Yeah, but thanks so much for all your help. It's been an amazing experience. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much, guys. So, we're tackling a very difficult niche problem. So here are your certificates, officially graduated. Thank you so much.